And
you
I'm just...
okay, yeah. I didn't think you were left-handed. All right.
I'm not. Are you?
No.
Wow, you look so disgusted.
No.
Wow. Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to offend you.
Yeah. No, left-handed people are disgusting.
Welcome to Chicken Adobo for the Soul, where two siblings talk about life like they know what they're doing. I'm Rachel.
And I'm John.
How you been?
I'm alive. It's as good as it gets most of the time. So
Okay.
Yeah, the bar is extra low. Oh well. How about you?
I don't know if this is better or not, but nothing exciting over here.
Oh, that's okay. We're in steady state operations. It
feels weird.
As one of my Marine coworkers often says it. Like,
yeah, it's boring.
Yeah, I mean, they always ask, like, how you doing? And the response is always the same.
How you doing?
And then, of course, okay, steady state operations, like, yeah. But that's not so bad. It's
not.
Right? Like, the way I'm looking at it and the way I think about things is that, like, if things are kind of easy / kind of nice, you're just gliding along, it's a shitstorm's a brewing. The reckoning is coming.
Oh my God, don't say that.
Oh, no, that's definitely what it is, like bad karma is just charging up.
Why can't it ever be good karma charging up?
No, because this is how it is. This is how it must be,
oh
right?
My God.
We have to pay for this good time.
Oh, are you the person that believes, like, all things happen in threes?
No, but I believe that, like, the karmic balance, right? Okay, the way I frame it is karmic balance. Like, for all the good stuff that we experience, we have to, experience something equally bad if, just because the world has to balance itself out. But when I was telling another coworker about this, a Navy man, right? He's like, oh, Terence, that is a very Catholic thing for you to say.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh, you know what? That does make sense because, in like very traditional Catholic worldview / religious view, right? Like, life is suffering. And all you do is work towards the goodness of the afterlife, to be in God's eternal grace and, access to heaven and all that good stuff.
Let me in.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah, the let me in meme. Yeah.
It's awful.
Yeah, all the good stuff. We can't appreciate the good stuff without experiencing any bad, right? And so in that sense, like, you have to have the bad. It's a very Catholic view.
Yeah. I like that. I like that view. I think I don't like the idleness of it.
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
I guess there needs to be a little bit more. I don't like the, the quiet stage of good before the bad comes, or the quiet stage of bad before the good comes. I don't like that. I like to have a good balance, but
yeah, and you can't. I don't think life can all just be perfectly good. Yeah, right. It's terrible if that was going to be the case. You have to have, like you said, the balance, because you're never going to learn anything from just an easy life.
Yeah.
Then what's the point?
So this week we are ending our relationship series, which there's been a very long gap. We realize that.
Yes.
And we're ending it with a conversation on marriage / maybe divorce.
Oh, no.
I'm married. John's divorced.
What?
You didn't know?
Whoa, no, this is awful. Is that where she's been?
Don't do the, my dad went out to get cigarettes a couple of years ago. My wife went to Target a couple of years ago, and I haven't seen her since.
Oh, no. Yeah, no, she went to Bed Bath and Beyond. Bed Bath and Beyond.
You got it. You can English.
Yeah, I can English. Thank you.
Last part of the series. Who knows? Maybe there's probably opportunities to go back and talk about it, but really conversation on marriage and divorce.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll start off with an easy question, which I know has changed these days for our generation.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have to get married? That was for you to answer.
Oh, that was for me to answer. Oh, I don't know. I'm kind of like deer in the headlights, man. I'm going to leave that silence in there. Because I just started staring at this, like, painting over your left shoulder. And
face looked like this.
Yeah. Yeah, literal deer in the headlights. And
you're so funny.
No, I don't know. Like, I still ascribe some degree of value to it. I think it's I mean, it is an institution. Yeah, there's tax advantages to it.
Yeah.
Yay. There's certainly pay benefits for it in the military. And so on.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I mean, I guess there are. I can understand why people might not want to, in the sense that they think it's an archaic and outdated tradition. It is very patriarchal, blah 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 blah, things of that nature. But at the same time, I think there's something, still precious about it. You're formalizing a lifelong commitment, and you're formalizing the family unit. Right? Not just in the government's eyes, but also in the eyes of many people who still might not embrace that new way of thinking that marriage might not be important.
Sure.
The vast majority of people still think it, or maybe, I don't know, I don't have the numbers to back it up, but I feel like a good number of people still value it. And so, yeah, your relationship, your long-term relationship will be even more valid or even more legitimized.
I think over time, marriage has lost its true meaning.
Ooh, do tell.
I don't think it's ever something romantic. I don't think it's anything romantic. I don't think it's anything, practical. It's just kind of this concept that's just stuck in a sad purgatory, with no definition, and nobody knows what it is anymore. Now it's no longer, and I remember talking about there's a difference between marriage and a wedding, and that's very obvious, but, I don't think that anybody really knows a true definition of marriage anymore.
Well, what do you think it was, and what do you think it has become?
I think before it used to have a lot more of a romantic concept. This is the person that has matched my soul, and we're meant to be together forever and ever until the end of time. And then, of course, you take a different view and you're like, when we both die, then we're going to come back together as another couple. I'm not going to get into that. And no matter how romantic it sounds. But I think now it's yeah, let's do it for the taxes.
Oh, bet. Yeah. Cough, cough.
No, it's just kind of lost that romantic feeling. I may have a very biased view on it because I do have friends who are still in the honeymoon stage. There are some who are not married yet and some who are engaged and they're starting it off. So I probably have a biased opinion because I have been with Marcus for over 10 years.
Yes. Way long.
Yeah, so the honeymoon stage, I think, is long gone.
Wait, are you talking about honeymoon phase for these married couples, or honeymoon phase in relationships in general?
I think both.
Because I think
in our case,
those are two very different things.
Really, I think for us it's the same thing. Probably because nothing.
What you're saying is the experience of two people who are dating for the very first time is the same as people who have just gotten married weeks ago, days ago.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah, thinking about that.
Oh
yeah.
Boy. Oh no, I quantifiably very much so disagree.
Really?
Yeah. Why, are you serious?
Yeah, I think that I think what I take it as is when you're dating somebody for the first 6 months versus you're married for the first 6 months, you're both still experiencing something brand new, and in both instances, you'll be learning something new about the other person. And I think that those feelings don't really change. However, I think with the marriage instance, you're now stuck with this person. But that's not the case because people can get divorced and easily cut it off. But I don't know. I mean, I've been with Marcus forever, and I knew I was going to marry him eventually, but I also accepted the fact that if we didn't, I was still going to be with him the rest of my life.
Okay.
So I wasn't a big marriage person.
So taking that little tidbit now into calculation too, what massively changed? What was so new for you when you guys first got married then? If you are saying that brand new relationship and brand new marriage are the exact same thing, what was so novel on day one as Mrs. Ramirez?
I think what was new was really, I think it was the It's going to sound really dorky, but maybe the times where he would introduce me as his wife, and that was new, and like I took on a new title. Probably doing the taxes, because that was hard. I had to do it by myself.
Wow.
No,
so
I'm kidding.
Hard. It's literally one checkbox that's different.
It's so difficult. I just don't like to do it. I let him do it.
Then pay someone.
No, he can do it. My husband can do it.
Oh God.
No, I just had it felt the same, but I knew it was new. I don't know. I know, and I know I sound crazy about it, but it just, the times where he introduced me as his wife, or when we were doing things as a married couple, and you just sort of recognize that you're married and that this is your person for the rest of your life, or for however long.
This is my pet rock.
Yeah, this is my pet rock. On the flip side, he's probably like, this is my ball and chain.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, my pet rock. You're my pet rock.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's fun, I guess.
I don't know. I think that my opinion is obvious. I'm going to learn something new, I feel like, from you, because I've been with one person for 10 plus years. So, I mean, when we got married, it just kind of, I think I only got excited because of the wedding planning, but that's typically what happens.
Yeah. All right, Monica. That's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you?
I don't know.
Do you have to get married?
I don't know. That'd be nice.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still kind of a long-term objective, I guess.
Okay.
And, because if I were to have kids, right, and I get, okay, let me roll the way back. Let me roll backwards a little bit. When you said that marriage, the definition or the purposes and the outlook that society has on marriage has dramatically changed recently, and you said it went from romantic to practical, I take a completely opposite view of it.
Okay. No, okay.
Marriages have always been, historically, about practical purposes. Significantly less about, like, I love you. No. No one cares. No one gives a shit about
I don't
that.
love you.
No, yeah. It's just like,
oh, yeah. It's been an exchange. It's been arranged. It's been a contract.
Here, let's keep property within this family. Let's keep property within the tribe. Let's keep property within this, this power structure, right? Oh, I want inheritance laws to be in my favor, so I must marry in this manner, right? I want to establish an alliance with you, so have our children get married, so we'll never fight each other because we're family now, right? Things of that nature. So, I mean, of course, that's very high-minded. That is what the elites and the nobles and the aristocrats did. But even on the lower segments, lower strata of societies, you still look at marriage as very practical, very functional ways to ensure that my position at this level in the caste isn't threatened. I'm not going to become a pauper because I married wrong. I marry someone who has the means. I marry someone who can feed and clothe and provide for whatever children I will have, right? They're very practical reasons, a lot less about love. Right. And the incredible degree of material wealth that we've been able to build as societies advance through the Industrial Revolution. We just talked about that in my class last week. Through the Industrial Revolution, through the liberalization of the through the 1800s and the 1900s, especially after the post-war boom in World War II. Yeah, then marriage has acquired that sense that you had ascribed, that let's get married for love. Because that makes sense, right? We don't have to worry about where food's going to come from anymore. We don't have to worry so much about where, who's going to pay for the house. We can actually care about our feelings. But yeah, I mean, in a cynical sense, of course, in that, postmodern cynicism that we all have. We might think of marriage now as something less about love and more about tax advantage.
I think the love, I will say the love part, I think, is very important about marriage, because it makes the filing taxes a little bit more sugar coated.
Yeah, no, it is.
You got to have the love portion of it.
It's nice. Yeah, exactly. And as a result of I guess the quote unquote love taking a little bit of a backseat. You have a lot of people who are like really reframing or really thinking more hardly about what it takes to make a relationship work or make a marriage properly work and last. You know, like one of the major paradigm shifts I've personally seen, or at least maybe evolved through, I don't know, that I've gone through is it's not a feeling. It's actually literally not a feeling. Right?
Interesting.
I mean, you know, when you're in a relationship early on and it's like you've been together for a while, sure, yeah, like, oh, I love her, I can't live without her, you know, I would die for her, or, you know, him, wherever you are on that spectrum, or it. Anyway, no, that's all very emotional and very, very, like, you know, heartfelt, sure, yes.
Mm-hmm.
But over time, what really sustains it, it's not that, because your emotions are going to cool and that shit's going to die, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
the honeymoon phase
the
is
honeymoon
over.
phase ends, exactly. And what else sustains a relationship after that, you know?
Yeah.
You choose to love a person. You choose to love a person. Right? And love is a choice. It's a verb.
The honeymoon phase is over. So now what work is needed to maintain the marriage? Mm-hmm. What work do you have to put in?
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, as someone who is still married, you know, I posed the question.
What work?
Yeah, what is it that works, or what work is it that you do?
Oh God.
He's not listening.
Now
okay.
I wrote these notes and I didn't even think about my own answers.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. This. See, I already have my answers. I didn't write anything down.
I'm trying not to. So the first answer I want to give is what work is involved as I think about the practical responsibilities. Mm-hmm. What are my job duties in the marriage? I'm responsible for cleaning the house, laundry, dishes, whatever. Mm-hmm. He comes in whenever he wants. And it's not like...
That's what she said.
It's not like we sat there and then we drafted a contract and then signed for whatever responsibilities we were going to take on. But I do think I think it's my job to... Yeah, here's a good one. I think it's my job to maybe take the lead on certain concepts within a marriage, because I think what I've learned from Marcus is he's, I don't want to say he's a follower and have you take him in that sense, but I'll take the lead and then he joins in.
Go with the flow kind of dude.
Yeah, you know, he's a go with the flow kind of guy. So if I give off hints that it's date night and I want you to wear more than sweats. No, and, you know, and we're not one of those couples you see on TikTok that are like, well, I'm getting dressed up. No, he'll, and it's cute. He'll actually watch me get dressed to determine what he wears.
To match the vibe.
Yes.
Yeah, all right.
But I think my responsibility in our relationship is I'll start something and then he goes with the flow and we kind of change things depending on mood and what direction are we going in. Mm-hmm. And I think that he takes the more practical responsibilities in our relationship, like paying the bills and filing the taxes and doing the yard work because I'm allergic to grass and all that stuff. But what kind of work did you feel like you put into that you were responsible for in your marriage?
Dishes.
Okay.
I don't cook, so I mean, it was a working arrangement between.
What? You don't cook?
Between my ex-wife. Shut up. Yeah, my ex-wife and I. So she cooked, she did all the prep, and I did all the cleaning and putting stuff away. Anything tech related, any handiwork related kind of things. I think a lot of our work kind of fell along very gendered lines.
Okay.
Very what traditional gender roles you might expect. You know, so for a while I was the sole breadwinner, right? And not the worst thing. I mean, I didn't mind. Like we were doing pretty well for ourselves. Mm-hmm. We were living fairly comfortably. And you know, when she decided she wanted to work too, like, oh, I'm all about it too. Heck yeah, like let's double our income. Yeah,
sure,
of course. Who's gonna say no to that?
Yeah.
And we had no kids, so it didn't really matter. I mean, we had cats. Yeah, sure, but
those are kids. Those are fur children.
They were cats. Yeah, that's right. I don't think there was anything particularly like unusual or very non-traditional about how our marriage arrangements were like. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was nice to have like someone to share some of the chores with, though. You know, that was kind of neat. Mm-hmm. You know, can't complain.
Do you know anybody whose dynamics do not follow the traditional gender responsibilities?
Honestly, I can't think of anything. No. I mean, that might be a commentary on how little social exposure I get. Ha 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 ha.
Well, I was thinking about it also, and I was like, I think most of my married friends, I think we all follow the gender roles.
Right, yeah. And there's nothing necessary. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, if it gets to a point where the genderedness of life and or the roles become oppressive, then yes, that's wrong. But if both parties or both people in the marriage or relationship are party to that, if they're okay with it, okay, sure, why not? Hell yeah. If that works for you, awesome. 2 thumbs up.
I do think there are times in my marriage where I do feel the pressure of being a housewife because Marcus will make, and I guess a little bit of background. Marcus's opinions are the only ones I really care about. So when he does give a comment, it does come off as I'm taking it personally, but I really am just putting all my thought into it, and I'm thinking, how can I do better? How can I change this? Whatever.
That's good.
So every once in a while, he'll make a comment. You know, the one that always gets me is, man, I wish that there would be like a hot dinner waiting for me at home.
Oh.
And then that's when I start frantically looking up recipes.
Rude,
And
yeah.
I know.
Oh, no, I mean, that makes sense though. I mean, he works stupidly long
Yeah.
hours, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that, I mean, he lets me do a lot. So on the in my head, I think, okay, the least I can do is have a dinner. Have a dinner ready for him or have food ready for him. But at the same time, he's a very laid back kind of guy where it's just not like a hard, like, you better have a beer and a sandwich ready for me.
You better like take off my shoes for me and massage my
feet. I know. So thank God he's not. I thank God he's not like that, because I think that would have changed our relationship.
Very chill.
I think that in a relationship, for me, I think a deal breaker is if I don't feel independent in my own relationship, then I think that's a deal breaker. That would have been hard.
Yeah, that's a big one. Yep.
Yeah, because I want to be able to do my own thing and not have you as my significant other. I think that I'm not spending enough time with you, or I don't care about you, or what. Like, I want you to be able to think, okay, you're doing your own thing. I'm going to make sure that you're fed and you're hungry, because I haven't seen you in a couple hours. Yeah. But I think, you'll come back later.
Well, I mean, I'd like to think that kind of calculation or that kind of thought process has already, been sorted out during the dating phase, because you're certainly not going to get married if his behavior was not something you were keen on as far as this kind of consideration goes. If he was inconsiderate, if he was very demanding, then I don't think he would have said yes to the question of should we get married. Yeah.
And he's it's interesting because he has told me that he knew that I was the one that he was going to marry probably like the first year of our relationship.
Wow.
I know.
Wow.
Why wait 9 years?
I know. I was going to say that. Oh my God.
I don't know. I mean, I was still in school and I was working towards what I thought was going to be a fantastic career in education. And here we are 9 years later.
You are in education.
I am in education.
Yeah.
Learning athletics.
Yeah. It's education.
But yeah, I mean, I think to this day, there's still a lot of work that I still need to put into my marriage. And I don't know if this makes me sound cocky or not, but not because, thank you, not because I have read about people putting a lot of work in their marriage because they're afraid that it's going to end. And if they don't do something, their significant other is going to leave them. I don't think that's the case here. I think it's just we need to probably just keep things positive, especially with things going on with COVID and all that, kind of keep that positivity within the marriage.
Yeah, that's fair.
Before things get too idle. And you're like, okay, well, here's your sandwich and your beer, and I'll massage your feet.
Well, see, that's the thing is like that kind of anxiety that a lot of couples have usually eventually manifests itself, or at least they think they're going to address it by going to therapy, right? Or something of that nature, like getting outside professional help. But I'm of the mind that by the time a couple feels they both feel like they must go to therapy, it's already probably too late.
I agree.
Right? They should be talking a whole lot more prior to that and communicating needs, communicating expectations, drawing lines, or, adjusting as necessary, well ahead of time. And that shouldn't even be like necessarily like a marriage strategy. That should be a relationship. Like while we're still dating, we should be doing this already. We should have already had this habit established early on, because if you don't have that figured out by the time you're married, you're probably not going to figure it out in time to save anything. Because it's a skill that takes a lot of time, because it's a personal skill that you develop with that person, that individual, that very, very particular set of attitudes and behaviors that's associated with your significant other. And that takes a long time to master, right? If you don't have that figured out by the time you could put the rings on, it's hard to like really play catch up.
Sure.
And it's going to be very damaging if you're trying to play catch up during the marriage. And that's kind of what happened to me. And so that hence wasn't super successful. But yeah, communicate. Yeah, that's like everybody and their mom, every relationship guru, cough, cough, right, is always talking about communication. And yeah, it's because it's so important. Like, holy crap, we can't read each other's minds.
I don't know do you remember buying me the,
Nope.
Okay.
Promise I don't.
Really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. My memory's awful.
I know it. It's just...
I forgot to mail you a letter that I wrote 2 years ago.
You're a terrible person.
And I, not even 2 years ago, 2 years and 2 months ago?
Yeah, November 2019.
Yeah, exactly. And I just mailed it last week.
Must have gotten lost in the mail.
No, it was literally in my desk drawer.
God, U.S. Postal Service taking their sweet time.
No, whatever, shut up. Anyway.
You got us, I'm trying to look for it on my bookshelf, but you got us the, is the 7 love languages book or whatever.
Oh, yeah, the 5 love languages.
Yeah.
Okay, I remember buying that for me. I'm sorry. I remember buying that for me and my ex-wife. Right? But not for you. I don't remember that.
Yeah, you bought us and you said that you really liked it. I don't mean to throw him under the bus, of course, but Marcus did not read it.
Oh, no.
I read it to him.
Oh. It's such a short read.
I know. And I think is that the one where it's like you learn your love language basically? So mine's words of affirmation.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, I want to be told.
Actually, so yeah. Now we're talking about it. Like, so there's the way you express it and the way you receive it, right? So are you saying that the way you express it is through words of affirmation, or is the way you receive it through words of affirmation?
I think I need to receive it.
Okay, so you need to hear that from your partner. Okay, cool. How do you express it then? Because there's gift giving, there's physical touch, there's quality time, and goodness, what was the fourth one or fifth one? Sorry.
It's words. Yeah, it's words of affirmation. So I found the book in my she shed. Words of affirmation, quality time, receiving gifts, acts of service, and physical touch.
Yep.
I think Marcus was an acts of service.
Good. Yeah, I express with acts of service.
Okay.
And then I receive best with words of affirmation.
Marcus I think he receives it as acts of service. I'm thinking about certain scenarios in our relationship, and I think he also gives with acts of service.
Okay. Very straightforward. That's
good. Yeah, that's what I would say. And I just flipped open this book, and I found your Amazon gift.
What did I write? The gift note.
You wrote, Rachel, make sure you read the hell out of this. It's super short and easily manageable along with your classes, from John. But then there's a second note in caps saying, Rachel, make sure Marcus gets this copy or I will choke the shit out of you. Oh.
Yeah. That'll do it. I guess I bought 2. One for each of you.
You bought us 2.
Yeah.
I kept mine because I think I hand wrote in mine on certain things.
Clearly, like, where's the second one?
I have no idea.
Wow.
Maybe it's with Marcus's stuff.
Wow.
He does have a tiny library.
Oh, good.
And by tiny, I mean 4 books.
That's fine.
3 of which
mine's
are
one of them.
novels. I think yours is one of them.
That's good.
Yeah. Yeah, but this book was interesting, and then you got this for us back in 2014.
Yeah. Oh, that's roughly the time I was getting married.
But we also did premarital counseling.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was one thing.
Is that through the church?
No, Marcus's cousin who officiated offered the courses with us.
Okay.
And it was really, it was a fantastic experience.
Mm-hmm.
Just having a conversation on scenarios. And, it was cute because at first he was like, look, I don't want you to think I'm looking out for my baby cousin, but some of these questions will make it seem like I'm looking out for my baby cousin.
Yeah, that's why you probably shouldn't do business with family.
Yeah, I know.
Right? Yeah.
But it was a wonderful service. And now that now that I'm in this idle stages, I'm actually going to reach out to him to see if he still has what he said at our wedding so I can keep it and frame it. But
okay.
We did the premarital counseling, which I absolutely recommend everybody does. And I actually think you're supposed to do. Well, traditionally,
you're not mandated to do it.
Yeah, you're not mandated. Depending who officiates, I think will make you do them.
Yeah, or at least they strongly encourage you to do so.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was good. It shed a lot of light on our roles within our relationship and within our marriage and what our duties were.
Yeah.
And what our responsibilities were. And we knew that Marcus was definitely going to take on the more realistic, practical roles. And I would sort of take care of anything else that, needed to be done. Mm-hmm. But it was interesting.
Oh, that's
fair. You didn't do it, did you?
I did, actually.
Oh, okay.
It was on the ship. And
nice.
Because every ship has a chaplain, at least one chaplain, right? Or sorry, that's not fair to say. The bigger ships, like carriers, LHDs, LHAs, they have chaplains on board to serve the spiritual needs of so many thousands of sailors. Mm-hmm. Right? On smaller boats, like the one I was on last, about 300 sailors, we had a chaplain visit every so often, whenever they can afford to send one out. But while me and my ex-wife were on that big ship, on an LHD, we got premarital counseling, and yeah, it was cool. It was very eye-opening. It was very, it was helpful, yes. And, she and I were recently talking about it, it's funny that we did do all that, but despite it, we still ended up getting a divorce, right? And it was no fault of either Five Love Languages, which is, that counseling session is where I got the book from. That was mandatory reading for us. Okay. Right? Despite that, and all the good advice, whatever the good input, whatever that came of it, we still got divorced. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't a fault of that system, or it wasn't a fault of the book. There were just really irreconcilable differences that if I hadn't done it, she certainly would have, but years later. Maybe after a kid. Oh yeah, that was part of our recent set of conversations. But yeah,
okay.
She would have done it herself, but years after the fact. There may have been a kid in the picture already by then. There may be, a house in the picture by then, and that would have been just really, really ugly. Okay. So, in a very weird and twisted way, I wouldn't say she's appreciative because it was a pretty, dramatic and awful time, but she understands, and she's keen, or I guess it's good to her that I pulled the Band-Aid early, or ripped the Band-Aid off earlier.
Interesting.
Yeah, and that's the perspective, the benefit of looking back on something so awful many years after the fact. Mm-hmm. Getting that perspective that what, that might have been a good idea. Yeah, good job, good on you for wrecking our lives for about a year or two.
Oh my goodness. If never asked you this, but if you could have gone back in time, was there something you would have done different? Like, would you have actually gotten married, or is there something you would have done different in the marriage to try and salvage it?
No, I don't want to put it out here, but you already know why it was. Why it didn't work out super well. But no, I don't think I would have. I'm sorry. I would not have gotten married in the first place if I had, to be honest, if I had the courage to actually just say no. Mm-hmm. That I already knew the red flags were all there going into the marriage, mm-hmm. but I still did it anyway, mm-hmm. right? Because I thought that, hey, I'm 27, 28, whatever. We've been dating for 4-ish years now. Our families know we've been together for so long. Society expects it. My family expects it. I'm not getting any younger. She's not getting any younger. Mm-hmm. Right? Might as well get married. And that's not a good reason to get married.
Yeah.
Might as well should not be the primary motivation.
Which I think answers the first question of, do you have to get married?
Well, no, I think you should still get married. And like, I mean, marriage
Well,
is
don't
an
go off
institution.
of it with the might as well concept.
Yeah. Marriage as an institution is still okay in my book, but like, I should not have gotten married because my entire mentality was might as well.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if my mentality was I absolutely love this person, I will always constantly choose this person, you know, still through sickness and in health, blah, 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 all those good things. If I sincerely meant all of that, then yeah, okay, yes, then there's no question about it.
Mm-hmm.
But that was not my my main set of motivations. It was might as well.
What would you do, and this is probably hard to answer, but what would you do differently if you were to get married again? I think what responsibilities and maybe what characteristics as a husband would you take on that you didn't have in your first marriage?
Well, I want to start this off with a quote from like a great American poet, right? Like 21st century American poet named Kanye.
I have a headache.
And
I have a headache because you hooked me. And then I think you slaughtered me while I was still on the hook. I hate you so much.
Got him.
I hate you.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to do that all the time.
Go on.
But no, like, you know, he and his contemporaries, his peers, warns American youth to sign that prenup. Because we want prenup. We want prenup. And so, yes, maybe that's something I will do in the future.
I hate you because I love that song.
It's such a good song.
Oh my God. Such a headache.
I think that might be something I do, especially after like kind of getting materially / financially gutted the first time.
Okay.
I wouldn't want to see that happen again. And it's the major concern for me there is how am I going to sell this to whomever it is that I'm going to marry next? Because there's a lot of negative associations or connotations with a prenup, right?
I think right off the bat, I'd be offended.
Exactly. And I don't know how to. I still don't know how to make that work. But
yeah.
Do you have one?
If I were to take on characteristics?
No. Do you have a prenup?
Oh,
Sorry.
no, we don't.
Okay.
We don't. I think that was actually one of the not like a do you guys have a prenup question, but that was kind of something that our officiant led to in our premarital counseling, like sort of what's going to happen if you guys were to get divorced. And Marcus said something interesting. He said if he's like probably the one thing he believes, and I'd probably have to ask him, but let's be honest, as Marcus, he may not remember. I think that he said that there isn't anything that I could do short of if I were to deliberately cheat on him, then yeah, that would end things. But otherwise, everything else could be discussed, even if I accidentally or it was if it was out of my control that I cheated on him, you know. And he used the scenario if I got belligerently drunk and couldn't remember, which you and I both know I barely drink, so that would not happen.
Very unlikely.
I guess if I murdered somebody, that means he would come and help me, which is great.
Yeah. Whose car are we taking? Yeah.
Mine, because it has leather and I can easily wipe it. He has cloth seats.
Yeah, and the blood will
We can't
stay
take
there.
his.
We're clearly not amateurs at this.
I have the all-weather mats in my car.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Anyway, so he said that there wasn't anything that I could have done that we couldn't really talk about and work through it. And I agree with him. I don't think that there is anything. I think it's deliberate is the key word in this. If he deliberately set my she-shed on fire, yeah, I'd probably be really upset.
Yeah, to the point of murdering him.
Yeah, and I'd have to take my car.
Oh boy. All right, yeah. or if since your she-shed's on fire, you just throw his body in there, and hey, there goes the evidence.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah.
Good idea. Thank you. You watch
welcome.
way too many movies.
No, I don't. I actually don't. I don't actively think about this on deployment. No, like murdering people or things of that nature. Yeah, because I'm a very colorful, friendly guy. Yeah. It's funny because I think like between you and me, I'm the only one who can answer this because, you know, you're not in a second relationship or you're not lining up to be in a second marriage. But what else would I do differently? I don't know. I think I'm I think I'm a lot more compassionate and patient now compared to when I first got married, where the mental image I had of a perfect partner, right? I held on to an image of a perfect partner, and that's a fatal flaw, consequence. Yeah. So, and then I held up my partner against that. And of course, she's never going to match that, right?
I have to agree with you on that.
No one ever will. Yeah.
As an
outsider looking in.
Yeah. Thinking about our last episode, that's a good one.
Yeah.
That's one, I think. Do you think and I've recommended you let go of that perfect image. You think you've let that go?
I'd like to think so. Yeah. I mean, if we had to really short of the girl from Australia who approximates that perfection pretty damn well, right? Yeah, no, I think I've kind of let go of that, at least in the sense of the women I've become intimate with since. Definitely don't hit all the check marks. Some certainly don't even have any of those check marks, but hey, you know what? It's Friday night.
Okay.
I'd like to think I've definitely stepped away from that because it is dangerous. It's damaging. It's damaging, absolutely. Yeah, I was gonna say damning, but yeah, damaging is a good one too.
If Marcus had a level for me to achieve or wanted me to achieve, God, that's stressful. And it's good you released that. That was one thing. That was a big recommendation because I eventually I'd love for you to get married and I'd love to stand up with you. But I'm sure the next girl you find will be very understanding of what you're looking for.
I hope so. And I'd like that. Part of it, I think you have to establish those expectations super early, right? Whether it's in a marriage or whether it's in any kind of relationship in general, understanding where each person stands very clearly at the very beginning. That's laying the foundations for success.
Yeah.
Because you have to find someone who's willing to work with you on that. Oh, well.
I think that your next marriage is going to be more romantic.
What's going to be funny is if I don't get married and then this comment doesn't age very well.
Everything I said means nothing.
Yeah, it really doesn't.
I think that Marcus and I have gotten a little bit more romantic in our marriage and in our relationship.
Very cool.
Especially, all of 2020 just worked like crazy and just him trying to get work sorted out and just other things sorted out. And, there is, stress and anxiety there. And I think that comes with the portion of having kids and where we stand in society with that, just such an awful stigma, but whatever, here we are. And I guess I just heard myself say what I just said, and I just want to make it clear. I want a lot of little kids. No. So I didn't want it to sound like, God, I have to have kids. No, I do want kids. I think where I struggle with is you're past that timeline. You should have had kids already.
Who, you or me?
Me.
Oh, yeah, right on. Oh,
really? Society is you should have had kids already. And,
really?
Yeah.
I mean, the starting line is getting pushed farther and farther to the right. Slowly to the right, right as in older. As we're getting older.
Oh, yeah. People are having kids in their 40s and all this stuff. Yeah. I just want to have, I think now I would love to have 4.
Oh, dang. Okay.
I think because I love the 4 of us.
Oh, you have 3-ish bedrooms.
Yeah, there will be a problem because of my shisha.
Yeah. Are you willing to give this up? If you do, who's going to get it? Is it the eldest, the youngest, or someone in the middle? Oh, boy.
Hold on. I'm still trying to struggle with the first question of, do I have to give this up?
No, you are going to have to. That's very unfair for you to have 2 kids share a room. Unless they're twins, then I guess that's okay. But I don't think twins run in your family.
Our other 2 siblings shared a room growing up, and they did just fine. As they're listening to this, they're probably like, no, we didn't. Yeah. We're not fine. And we're still not fine.
Yeah. Oh, boy. Yeah. And guess where one of them is now? She's not even in the state. That's how hard the repulsion.
Oh, my God. Don't read into it.
I'm just kidding. That's you shove magnets, so magnets of the same charge so
I
close
don't know.
together
Maybe
for so
want to
long,
move
eventually.
out. Maybe want to move out at like 18 and I don't have to worry about giving this up.
So what you're saying is that between your first child and the last child, there'll be an 18-year gap.
No,
so
I
that
don't
you can
know.
afford to keep
I'm coming up with reasons, because I haven't prepared an answer as to whether or not I'm going to give up my she shed.
What about let's get you past the goal first? Like, let's get you on the first kid, and then we can plan.
What? So shut up. Don't ask me this question.
I have zero prospects for kids right now, so that's why I get to have fun with this. Yeah.
But yeah, I think, kind of connecting it back to the question of do you have to get married, I think also comes with you have to do everything that comes along with marriage. Do everything you can to keep it romantic. Do everything you can to have kids. And otherwise, you're just some couple that signed a marriage contract.
For money.
Yeah, for money. Otherwise, you're just in it for the taxes.
Yeah, I'm all about it. Sign me up.
Another thought that came to mind is with the romance part of it is there anything that you did, and I'm thinking also anything you did to keep the romance alive within your marriage? Because, the 6 months you've been married, it's over. Now you're in your first year. Maybe things have died down. Then here you are married 3 years later. And things have become super idle and pretty boring. Like, oh, hey, honey, I'm home. Here is your sandwich and beer and
date nights, right? Like, you're never supposed to, the common thing that people say is, like, you're never supposed to stop dating.
Right.
Sure, I guess there's that, yeah.
Anything you did in your marriage?
I know it's funny.
I mean, just say it. We were doing this podcast for a reason.
We scheduled sex.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's not funny.
Nah,
I mean, you're giggling. Sorry, no, you think it's funny.
Some people might think it's funny. But, it's... By some point, we were getting really busy both with schoolwork, with work, and so on. And so it was kind of hard to align those kinds of things. But then, on this night, at this time, bam, let's go. And it was kind of cool because it built up that kind of excitement or expectation, or it's something to look forward to, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not spontaneous. Okay, sure, some people will poo-poo that idea, but try it out. Give it a try.
So with the with the topic of trying to have kids, we do have to schedule it.
There you go.
So I naturally, as in my body naturally schedules it for us.
Yeah.
And I think what's difficult is bringing in that romantic aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I think it almost just stops being romantic.
It becomes mechanical, right?
Yeah,
at that point,
we're doing this for a purpose.
Yeah. There's hardly anything passionate about it.
Yeah, and it's I think that's probably one thing I've been struggling with lately.
Oh.
Is it's just kind of like, how do I keep this? I want this to be romantic, but at the same time, I want 4 kids.
Yeah.
And I really want kids. I want a copy of the 2 of us. That sounds so scary.
Yes, it is.
Let's just plug into a photocopier.
It's abjectly terrifying. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. I actually don't know how to keep the romance alive. I think the more work you put, oh God, I think the more work you put into keeping the romance alive, the less then you start to lose focus of the actual overall marriage.
Mm-hmm.
I think you have to keep it very natural and I guess you keep it spontaneous. And if that comes with scheduling sex, then
so be it.
So be it. Yeah.
No, so what I'm thinking is that when people tend to think about keeping it alive, quote unquote, right? Or preserving the flame, whatever it is, however you want to frame it. Yeah, when it comes to all that, people like to think you have to do grand gestures, right? That you have to, get flowers and chocolates and, steal a blue French horn, things of that nature, right? But no, I am on the opposite end of that spectrum, and I think that it's the little things. It's always the little things that count the most.
Like little things constantly?
Little things constantly, okay. Yeah. Like, because that's the job. That's the work that comes with a relationship. You don't just build up energy over months or weeks and then blow it all up on one massive gesture. No, it's the constant work, the discipline associated with little things like, hey, good morning, I love you. The behind the back hugs kind of thing, or, let me get that for you. Let me get the dishes for you. Let me, I'm on my way home. I'm gonna pass by this. Can I pick something up for you? Very little gestures that show that I appreciate you. You are valuable to me. And it's not just waiting for the next big thing. No, you have to constantly do it.
Agree.
Yeah, it's the commitment.
100% agree. Yeah. And I think that's what keeps the marriage going.
Yes.
Because that's like, you have to do whatever you can. It sounds bad, but you've been dating for a couple of years. You've already had the wedding. Now you're married, and okay, yeah, you can have a few kids, but that's kind of it. That's kind of the end line. So you have to do those little gestures, little things, or the big things. If you want to do big things constantly, by all means, or do the little things constantly. But yeah, that's what keeps the marriage alive. I think marriage is equal parts romantic and equal parts work. And it's hard and it can be difficult. But yeah, I think every lifetime I live, I think I'd probably get married every time. Because I've had a blast so far. I don't know. We'll check in next time.
Yeah. Good luck with that.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us, guys, as we close out the relationship segment and listening to us rattle on about marriage. And we will catch you next time.